All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of AE Live. We are actually doing a national kickoff tonight for the High Altitude Balloon Challenge. And we have something that we have never had before, and that is a studio audience. Let's hang on. Let's swing you guys over. Hang on. We're not there yet. There they are. We have a studio audience. So, all right, we're going to come back to them in just a little bit. For those that don't know, my name is Bob Roberts, and we're going to switch this off so I can get you guys up here. And we are going to review the High Altitude Balloon Challenge. With me tonight, we have two special guests, and our first special guest is Jason Krager, and he is the president and founder of Stratostar, which is a company that is designed to, and there he is, and it is a company that is designed with doing STEM application and doing STEM lessons by utilizing high altitude balloons, which amazingly is what we're doing here. And then we also have Susan Mallet, and she is the educational outreach from CAP National Headquarters, also otherwise known as, and you guys can call me a liar if you want, she is the busiest person at National. So Susan, welcome to you. All right, let's go. As a matter of fact, we're going to jump. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Hey, Bob, real quick.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know everything about YouTube, but I think I have YouTube up on my tablet. I just want to make sure you're live over there.
We are, because I have YouTube up on my TV screen and I can see it live.
Great.
Yep.
Great.
Let's see here. So let's see. We're going to go to Susan first. She's going to give us a little bit of the vision of the High Altitude Balloon Challenge. Susan, over to you.
Thank you, Bob, and I'm really glad to be here tonight with all of you. And this is an exciting evening for us. It's been several months of working with lots of squadrons around the nation, and with Jason and Bob, it's been a great team effort. But on behalf of Dr. Jeff Montgomery, the Director of Aerospace Education at the National Headquarters at Civil Air Patrol at Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama, we'd like to say thank you for taking a leap of faith to try this new challenge that we're doing for Civil Air Patrol this year. This is our first time to do a national challenge like this for our squadrons, and we're excited to do that as we're all slowly moving out of our incubation time. And I'll call it incubation because I think we're now all excited about getting out and doing new things. So this science, technology, engineering, and math, this STEM project with our cadets is going to be an exciting way to do that. The two gentlemen here tonight are going to explain everything to all of you, but we just want you to know that this high altitude balloon challenge is going to be exciting for each person in their own way. Many of you have done high altitude balloon experiments and projects and programs at your squadrons or in your communities, but for those who haven't, you're going to learn something new. This is not going to be a time for you to put your hands on the balloon exactly, but you're going to be working with the scientific process to do the payload and to learn how the process works. So hopefully this will generate something for your squadrons to move toward in the future. And we hope that our team will be a team that will help you move in that direction. We're excited that Colonel Joe Kittinger has been agreed and is excited to be our national ambassador for this program. So Bob and Jason will tell you more tonight, but thank you for joining us. We hope you have a grand next few weeks as you do your science projects and get ready for the launch in August in the Indiana Wing. And we'll hear more about that later too. So have a great evening. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you so much, Susan. And again, thanks for everything that you do and all the folks do at National to allow us to have this. Jason, why don't you give us a little bit of an understanding of who Colonel Joe is, an incredible individual.
Yeah, so when I was starting into high altitude ballooning when I was in college, I, got on Google. Actually, Google came out when I was in college. So think about that. We had encyclopedias. I would have had to look up Colonel Joe in an encyclopedia, but we had Google. And this image is the first thing that came up when I said high altitude balloon, science. And this is from his Excelsior project from the early 1960s, where he was testing recovery chutes. And at this point, he went up to 100,000 feet, which is above 99% of the atmosphere. And we did not have spacesuits at this time. he was wearing a flight suit for, basically a fighter aircraft. And we were in the development of our space program in the United States. And Colonel Joe was basically one of the science projects, a guinea pig, to help us become a spacefaring nation. And he jumped from a perfectly good high altitude balloon and came back down to Earth with his special parachute system that is currently used in most fighter aircraft today. And so he is just an incredible individual. He has a great book called, I think, Come Up and Get Me, that he's written. And he is a national aerospace legend, flew jets in Vietnam, and just dedicated his life to being a test pilot and advancing aviation through all the ages. And he is generously connected through Susan, just incredible to be a part of this project. And we'll talk about that a lot more later.
All right, fantastic. All right. With that, we have a short video for you all to watch.
Bob, I'm not getting sound.
All right, we're having a little bit of we're having a little. I see that's not coming out there. Hang on one second. It's actually coming out my local speaker.
Well, let me. I'll just talk while you're fixing it. Yep. And I have the chat up here. I know we have a bunch of people on chat, and we're gonna go ahead. If you are part of this as a squadron or a cadet, feel free to put some questions in the chat. I'm gonna try to keep up with it. And we'll see if we can answer those questions live. So thanks, guys, for being in the chat and showing up tonight for this event. And it's just been, for myself personally, really exciting working with Civil Air Patrol and just all the different facets that is a part of Civil Air Patrol, and especially aerospace education. It's, still don't have sound, Bob. But I'll tell a quick story before we maybe go to the next slide. This video here that Bob is showing is on YouTube. If you search Colonel Joe Kittinger, I believe this video was put out by the Air Force, and it kind of highlights some of his life and what he did during his time at the Air Force. So, but let me just give you a quick background on myself in aerospace, okay? So what's really exciting to be a part of this is that I didn't realize that I wanted to be in, engineering or, even aerospace until basically late in high school. And at that point, started applying to Purdue and other schools to get into engineering. And they said, hey, where are all these math classes? Where's calculus? All these classes that I would have needed to be in advanced math track starting in 6th grade. I didn't have those classes because unlike what you guys are doing here as cadets in Civil Air Patrol, you are finding kind of your niche, your passion, and you can take school seriously so that you can get into even apprenticeship programs, okay? There's a lot of room in aerospace. I know that there's these shops here in Indiana that mill very specific aviation parts for military jets, and they don't have enough people to work the machines to make these parts. And so there's all kinds of jobs for aerospace, but I wish I could have had something like this, had somebody like Bob and Susan to kind of help me see a path into aviation for the future. So I'm excited to work with you guys on this project. And I guess we're going to go to the next section. Technical difficulties is how it goes.
Yeah, we had actually tested that before. We actually had a problem with that once before. We fixed it. And then the second time we did it, it worked great. I didn't change a thing, and that's how technology works sometimes. So we're going to throw a link to that video. It's a great video. The other video I think that'd be really great for you to check out if you get a chance is Colonel Joe had actually sat down with us and talked for over an hour and talk about his career, his jump, as well as, the importance of setting goals when you want to achieve things that are great like this. And so it's a real inspirational talk that we have with Colonel Joe. So the way that you can do that is you can actually do two things. You can go and you can visit our the website for aerospace education, and this is our website, and you'll see lots of different things. If you're a cadet, you'll actually see your aerospace dimensions in here. We have lessons on those, as well as lots of interviews with folks in aerospace. And Colonel Joe is very prominently right now at the top of that list. So if you search on aerospace education, you'll see this incredible face. Click on that on YouTube, and then you'll see Colonel Joe. And then the other thing you can do, of course, is if you just go to youtube.com/Robert Roberts, you'll be able to see that there. So so definitely go ahead and take a look at that video. We'll throw a link too in the email to get you to go see that video. I'm sorry we couldn't get that to play. That was a nice video.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Those videos are linked on our new CAP National High Altitude Balloon Challenge link. That their AEOs have a link to that page, and it all links to what we're going to be doing tonight. So everything that we're talking about is going to be on that link, linking to the Stratastar link.
And
Awesome.
Bob, the YouTube chat is blowing up. They did have sound. We just didn't have sound.
Oh, did they? Oh, look at that. Well, you know what? Let's go back then.
You get a half point for that.
Well, I'll tell you what. All right. So I love having internet chat. So internet chat groups. I changed a few things around, so I don't know if I broke it on you. I'm going to try to play this, and we'll see if you can hear it.
If you can hear it, say it in the chat.
Space is hostile. It's very hostile to man. Blood boils at 65,000 feet. The Project Excelsior was the first time anybody was outside of a spacecraft in a space environment. I'm Joe Kittinger. I spent 29 years in the United States Air Force. Half my career was spent in research and development, worked as a test pilot. The other half was a fighter pilot. I was a project officer on Project Excelsior. The two objectives of Project Excelsior was, first, how to protect a man in a space environment, and second of all, how to provide the means of escape in very high altitude. When a person ejects extreme high altitude, he is liable to spin. And the higher you eject, the more spinning you could do. Unfortunately, we didn't have aircraft that would go that high. The only thing that could get up that high was a balloon vehicle. The takeoff was in the morning at about 6 o'clock. The climb time from takeoff to 102,000 feet was about an hour and a half. And 40,000 feet, which is where my pressure suit inflates. And I suddenly discovered that the pressure suit glove, my right hand, was not working. I knew that if I told the people on the ground that it wasn't working, that they'd make me abort the flight. So I opted not to tell the people on the ground that I had this problem. I could not use my right hand during the flight. Everything I had to use my left hand. It swelled up about twice its normal size. Well, the sign on the bottom of the gondola was, "This is the highest step in space." Think about being at 102,000 feet. It was a very interesting experience for me to sit there and look at the horizon, and I could see over 400 miles from that altitude. My guy on the ground said, "Okay, we're over the position, you're cleared to jump." And I jumped. I fell for, it seemed like I wasn't moving at all. There was no crest, no velocity. There's nothing you can see. So I rolled over my back, I looked up, and I saw the balloon flying into space. I said, "My gosh, that's amazing." And then suddenly I realized that the balloon was sitting still, and I was going down at a fantastic rate. And then the small drogue chute came out, and I free fell, stabilized from that altitude all the way down to 14,000 feet with my main parachute open. And then it was just a question of getting down to the ground. When I landed, my team was right there immediately. We were just ecstatic because we had accomplished what we set out to do. We had shown that man could go into space and work properly. We showed that we could protect him in a space environment. We showed that we could get a man down from high altitude. So there were a lot of firsts on the program. And as a result of this test, today, some 54 years later, every ejection seat in the world uses a small drogue chute to stabilize the free fall from high altitude. We were breaking barriers. We were setting new goals and exceeding those goals.
All right. Well, I'm super happy that you guys were able to get a chance to watch that. That's great. All right. So let's talk real quickly about the overview of what the program is. So the CAP High Altitude Balloon Challenge is going to be taking projects that you do in your local squadron. What you're going to do is you're going to be getting a box that looks like this. Matter of fact, let me go full screen here so you can see me better. So you're going to see, you're going to have a box that looks like this. And inside of this box, you're going to have 2 of these vials. We have the other vial over on the desk over there, but you're going to get 2 of these. And so you're going to basically have an experiment. You're going to put one that's going to stay on the ground, and you're going to have the other one, it's going to go up in the balloon. And so what this allows you to do is one's going to be a control and the other one's going to be, you're going to fly. So on the caps, you're going to see a C and you're going to see an F. Let's see if that actually, there you go. You're going to have a C and you'll have an F. So your C is going to be control. It's going to be what's on the ground. And then what that allows you to do is it allows you to compare the difference. So what changed between what was on the ground and what actually got flown to the edge of space. And so we are looking to get these to go to close to 100,000 feet above Earth. Now, if you're a cadet, you're used to being, maybe if you've ever been in an airliner, that airliner typically will fly around 35,000, maybe upwards to 40,000 feet. So this is going to go almost 3 times as high as what an airliner will go. So much higher. Matter of fact, Joe Kittinger was the first person in mankind's history to be able to get high enough to see the curvature of the Earth. So at this point, I always tend to apologize for anybody who believes in the flat Earth. You'd have to argue with Colonel Joe, because Colonel Joe actually got high enough to see the curvature of the Earth with his own eyes. And so we're going to be doing 2 balloon launches because we have so many squadrons. This is a great problem to have. We have so many squadrons that got involved that we're not able to fit all of the experiments under one balloon. So what we're going to do is we're going to be launching 2 balloons, and we're going to be launching them about 30 minutes apart from each other. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the mission here. And now we're going to be launching these, and we're going to be launching these near Indianapolis, and we're going to be able to track. So, Jason has some incredible technology that's going to be in these balloons, and that works with satellites, and it relays through the internet, and it gives you literally a graphical representation of where this balloon's going to be. And you're literally going to launch it. It's not like an airplane. You can't steer it. So once you let it go, it's like dropping, a balloon in a river, a body of water. That's what air is. It's just another body. And so it's just going to go wherever, the air goes. And so we are going to have some very cool folks on the ground. We're going to have some ground teams. We're hoping to have some aircraft in the air to be able to track it as well. But the airplane's only going to be able to go to 10,000 feet, give or take. So they're obviously not going to be able to follow it up to 100,000. That's when we'll have the satellites kick in. And then when it gets up to 100,000, the balloon, Jason's going to talk to you in a little bit about, how big the balloon gets. Well, the balloon's going to get so big, and then it'll burst. And then once that balloon bursts, there's a parachute that's going to be underneath it, and the parachute will drop down. And then once we get back to about 10,000 feet, we're going to be able to pick it back up with the airplanes, and the airplanes will track it all the way till it reaches the ground. Now, this is going to be hopefully probably near Indianapolis. So there's a lot of corn fields out in Indianapolis. And so this thing very well may come down like in a farmer's field. And so we're hoping to have actually a UAS team, a drone team, that's actually going to get direction from the airplane, and they're going to put the drone right over the landing spot, and then that'll direct the ground teams to go get it. So this is going to be pretty cool. And then Jason and I, we're going to be basically your mission control center, and we're going to be talking people through what they're seeing and the different phases that we're in of the flight. And the biggest thing we're going to talk about a little bit later, but we're going to be showing your projects, your videos live while this event's happening. Let's see here. Now, we are hoping to do we're going to talk about this later, but I'm kind of front loading, I guess, all the information here. The first balloon launch date is tentatively scheduled for August 21st. Now we have to worry about, the weather not working out well. And so we do have a backup date of the August 28th. And so that's pretty much what the mission is. It's pretty cool. Jason, could you do me a favor? Can you go ahead and share with us what the share kit looks like? I kind of already stole your thunder a little bit, but.
Yeah. So you can hear me, Bob?
I can hear you great.
Great. Yeah, so the share kit, like Bob said, we have those 2 capsules, and we call it the Student High Altitude Research Experiment, okay? And that's where the share comes from. We share space on the mission with everyone else, and so we're all going up together on this mission. I've done a whole bunch of these, and so we have the capsules just like this, and here's the deal, okay? You have your flight and your control, and you're going to build these and ship them to me here, and we're going to pack them up and get them launched. You're going to send me both of them, okay? So people are saying, I see in the chat, what about, if it goes on an airplane, wouldn't that wreck your experiment? And actually, the answer is no, because your control and your flight experience the same exact thing on an airplane. And so if you see a difference, that difference came from space. The same thing might happen in like a UPS truck or something. So I'm just going to make up something. So let's say you wanted to fly different kind of chocolates or something on your project and see if they taste different in space, which, guys, look, we are going to be a spacefaring, humanity is going to space. And they're going to have chocolate in space. You don't know if we send it up there, is it going to taste different? All right. So let's say you send chocolate and you have 3 pieces in here, 3 in here, and they're in the UPS truck, and the UPS truck is like 120 degrees Fahrenheit in Arizona, and all your chocolate melts. Well, it'll come back melted in your control as well as your flight. Okay. So that we know there was an issue en route. All right. This is all science. We're all going to figure this out together, okay? So I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, but do we have the stats or kind of the information requirements that we're going to do, Bob, on the next slide? All right. So here's the limits, and we all have constraints in aerospace. Everything in aerospace that flies, we take a look at how much it weighs and how much, what is its strength, okay? And same thing with this. I need to be able to fly a whole bunch of these, and I need to know how much weight is coming my way for each project. So for each share capsule, you have 40 grams worth of experiments that you can put inside, okay? And I would recommend that you guys maximize that space. You also have to fit within the 50 milliliter test tube. This is a test tube, 50 milliliters. So I can't have crazy stuff hanging out the side or taped on the outside. I have very specific containers that this all fits in, okay? And I will be doing a weigh-in. If you guys have ever seen, done wrestling or, seen some boxing on TV, we weigh everything in, just like NASA. This is the same thing as NASA, and we're going to check to make sure that you guys followed the rules, all right? But you want to maximize the volume and the space that you have in there, okay? And I'm just going to show you, this is one of my example projects. And we have a whole bunch of projects in here. Here's a swab from my cell phone. It's a Q-tip, but I cut it off and I put it in this little jewelry bag so that I can save space. I got some radish seeds in here. But basically, you want to maximize the space. If we talk about experiments, this could have 10 different experiments inside of it. Okay? It's not just one thing. You can put a whole bunch of stuff in there. However, there are some rules. No liquids, and I use, that are uncontained. And the reason is that when these would come back from space, there would be stuff leaking out of everywhere, and I would have space juice and water coming out. Who knows what it is? I don't know. It was gross. These don't have O-rings, okay? Now, if you want to do a contained liquid, what does that mean? That's something like a glow stick, okay? So you might see those little glow sticks. That's a good example that has liquid in it, but it's also in a little plastic cylinder, okay? So you could put that in there. I'm okay with that. No food that needs refrigeration. So, for example, marshmallow, okay. Hot dog, not okay. Okay, I would even say grape, not okay because it would get moldy and gross. I did have people ask, and I'm not watching live feed right now because I'm talking, so maybe Bob is, but someone said an egg, and I would like to say yes, but that also gets really gross if it explodes and gets really smelly. Now, if you do this locally at your squadron, you can have whatever rules you want, and that's something that might happen in the future. But the next thing is no live vertebrates or invertebrates. So you'll have to look that up if you can't remember from science class. But basically, that means no bugs and nothing like a fish or something with a backbone. Okay, we just can't do that with this project. No radioactive materials, no explosive materials. Pretty straightforward. So when these come in, you'll send us a flight manifest and tell me what's inside, and we'll weigh it in, and then we'll be able to fly it. And so you can see a picture here of another set of student projects, probably 10 different projects in there. So just, whole bunch of creativity. And we modeled this off of some work that's done on the space station where they use super tiny capsules to do projects. And so now this is like the mega capsule. This is the SpaceX giant capsule that we're going to give you guys to go to the edge of space. All right, Bob.
All right, very good. Yeah, I got a chance to go take a look at the chat. One of the questions, we're going to get to some of the questions at the end, but one of the questions I think it actually fits well right now. Are there limits on lithium batteries, being able to ship lithium batteries?
That's something that you're going to have to look up. We're going to use USPS, so United States Postal Service. And, I don't know all the rules right now from them, but I believe we're going to be doing ground shipping, and I think that might be okay. But you'll have to check with that and see if you need any labels. But they ship stuff in Amazon and, other places. It's something that you'll need to look at. And also, if you have any really exotic materials that I didn't mention here that you might question to go through USPS or United States Postal Service, maybe don't send it or look it up before you ship it, okay? I need to keep my team safe. Maybe I'll have Bob open everything. He'll be my cupbearer for the projects. If it doesn't if Bob dies or has something happen, the team is okay.
If you ship chocolate and you only get half of the chocolate that you sent up back, I'm not sure really what happened. I'm not saying I ate it. I'm not saying I didn't eat it.
Yeah.
So this is what you mentioned about several
here's
projects.
An example here of 10 different projects that went into a share capsule. Okay. Now, a lot of you might still be saying, why do I need to make two exact copies and ship it? And the reason is, let's look here. Bob likes candy today. Right here in the upper right, you see gummy bears. Okay. And, this team wanted to send up gummy bears. Okay. Now, do you notice that they're both orange? There isn't a red one and a green one. When you're doing science, you need to control as many things as possible. We call them variables in order to kind of measure the change of what might have happened when you put it in this new environment. Okay, so a red gummy bear might absorb more UV light than a green gummy bear, and so the red one would melt and the green one wouldn't. But we wouldn't really know if it was actually a gummy bear problem or if it was the color of a gummy bear. So it's, just giving you a perspective of how many things you can fit and how much science you can do in one capsule, and you keep it as similar as you can from one to the other, okay? People are asking about electronics on the chat, so I'm going to show you this, okay? And this is a challenge. This does have a lithium battery, so you guys need to look that up. Okay, this is called an Arduino Feather. Okay, I know it's super hard to see. Okay, this is an M0 Arduino Feather. This has an SD card on it, and I've flown this. I didn't have to ship this because I flew it right here. But this little system fits inside the share capsule with a whole bunch more room and weight left over to do projects. Now, this is incredible that you could fly an electronic system inside of a share capsule. Okay, so you could do temperature, pressure, whatever. Now, on our flight system, we're going to have all kinds of, temperature, pressure, humidity, acceleration, spin. We're going to send all that back live. So if you wanted to collect some humidity data or something else here, you can compare it to our, flight computer data. All right. So that's kind of cool. And if you're going to do this, Bob was thinking he had a lot of questions about this as well. But, that's a more advanced project there.
Great. All right. Let's see here. And here's a picture of some kiddos working on their project at a local school. And I love the kitty cat mask. I think that's great. And talk to us here about the C and the F on the capsules.
Yeah. So this is example of the control in the flight, and I believe this team was looking at what happens to rubber bands or rubber when you send it to space and back. That's vital. What if, the astronauts, and I don't know if this is true, maybe it's true. What if up there, they're using rubber bands to hold everything, but rubber bands can't handle the temperature of being in the cargo hold going up to space. And then, all their papers and all the things they're trying to hold together are just floating everywhere because we didn't realize what happened to rubber bands. Okay. What you guys are going to do is you're going to come up with some experiments, some projects, just like they did. What happens to rubber bands when they go to space? And you can't find that. You can't find a lot of these answers on Google. And that's why you need to put a project together and do the science to figure it out. And you're going to need this specific project. How do you make a rubber band? What is it made out of? What are the chemical compounds? How are we going to test it when it gets back? Are we going to measure in centimeters, inches? Are we going to have a common weight? There's so many things that goes into just a space rubber band project. And you can see how many students were involved in just one capsule on this project.
Very cool. All right. Let's see here. Jason, I think you got phase one here. So if you want to let us know how phase one works.
So, we're pretty deep into this schedule already here on the opening ceremony. But the big date that's coming up for this project that everyone needs to be aware of is August 11th. Okay. Now you see there to the left, those are kind of the flat rate envelopes that we send out. And your AEOs or whoever's listed will be getting the share kits from us soon in the mail. And it'll come with another envelope so you can ship it to the launch site. But August 11th, you need to have that project in the mail. It gives us, I believe, 8 days or so for it to arrive and be processed and integrated into the payload. We have a mission patch that you can submit. There's templates, digital and hand-drawn templates that we provide your aerospace education officer. We're going to have you turn in one hand-drawn and one digital mission patch. And there's some requirements for that, like have the year, have your squadron, and then we want you to visually represent your project some way, squadron's project, and then we'll put your video up.
Jason.
It'll be really cool. And, Bob, I was thinking if you can hear me.
Hey, Jason.
TikTok is a lot like America's Funniest Home Videos from back in our day. Anyways.
Hey, Jason,
I'll let you take it. I think you want me to talk about phase two, or you got that?
Jason, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, we lost it. The stream buffered. I'm not sure what's going on. It says works now, good now, finally. All right, we're gonna. All right, what in the chat box? Do me a favor. Where did we start losing you? And I'm gonna shut a few things down here. Can you guys do me a favor? Or can you hand me that Apple remote? I'm going to turn that off.
Bob, I think that the lights dimmed in South Carolina when you went live.
That's probably true. We're going to go ahead and start shutting some stuff down here on the network.
All right. We talked about the patches. So just go back one slide. I'll give the quick overview so we can move on. All right. So a few things that on August 11th, ship your projects with a provided envelope. We're going to have you send in digital versions of a hand-drawn mission patch and a digital mission patch. And then a flight manifest, which is basically a document that tells us what materials are in it. We have the science project report, which is basically a pretty short written report of what you're doing for your project, what your hypothesis is. And then we have a really cool aspect that we added because we know the kids these days love making videos. And that is to provide basically a pre-flight video of your project, telling us a little bit about what you're doing. And it's only a few minutes long. And we're hoping that we'll be able to play some of these videos during the live launch of the project, the live mission experience. So we might say, and we're going to talk a little bit about Greenville's project, and here are some cadets to tell us about it, right? And then put up your video. We have another piece of video, kind of a science documentary that Bob is going to talk about a little bit later, but those things are all due August 11th. Many of them are digital submissions, but you got to get that thing in the mail.
All right, very good. Hopefully everybody got that. I'm not gonna, Jason, do me a favor. If you still have your chat window open, just let me know if somebody mentions that they can't see, because I've shut down all my monitoring here to make sure that my internet connection is all dedicated to this, the upload here. All right, so the flying of the share project. So I mentioned this earlier. We really have two primary launch dates. We have August 21st and we have August 28th. Now, the really cool thing is that Jason has some software that he has access to that will predict the landing based on where he launches. And so a couple things. One, if we know that there's thunderstorms the next day, I don't know if anybody's ever seen the lightning hitting the key with the long rope. We don't want to be that person launching the balloon. So if we have inclement weather outside, we're not going to launch. We'll wait till the backup date, as well as if we have really strong winds, either low to the ground or high winds, really high winds up high, and the balloon's just going to travel too far. You could launch this thing and it could end up hundreds of miles away. So we want to make sure that where it lands is in a good spot. So we're going to look at that. If we launch on the 21st, then we'll be shipping back your projects on the 23rd. And if we launch on the 28th, then we'll be shipping on the 30th. Now, both those days, and it's possible, but if both those days are a scrub, then we'll be letting everybody know via email when the next launch date's going to be. Let's see here. With that, Jason, let us know, what's the launch like?
Yeah, so it's very exciting, and on the mission day itself, we're hoping to have a live feed so you guys can see this thing being filled. I'll be there to provide some commentary of what we're seeing. But what we're going to have, and we're going to have two. So we're going to launch one, and then we're going to reset, and we're going to launch again. So I know that some people on the West Coast in Alaska, it's going to be pretty early for you guys. So if you roll out of bed a little later, we're going to have the second one that we're going to launch. But we use a giant full tank of helium, the ones that are about 5 feet tall. We put the whole thing in that big balloon, and it's about 6 feet across on the ground, and takes about 15 to 20 minutes to fully empty. And then we have the parachute and the tracking equipment and all the projects there on board, along with video cameras that we fire up. And we work with the FAA. We make sure everything is clear, and then we let it go and we start tracking. And we're going to be able to see some tracking online. I don't know if we can figure out how to, let's go to the next slides to talk about how big it is. And then we'll see if we can look at the tracking, if we can make the internet work. All right, so here's what it looks like. The balloon, in my YouTube graphic that I made here, about 6 feet tall. Bob is actually almost 7 feet tall. So I got to make a new graphic. So I got to make a new graphic here. But once it goes up to 100,000 feet, it grows incredibly large. And this is due to the ideal gas law. But the simple version of it is that as we go up in the atmosphere, the pressure drops, or there's a lot less molecules. Well, the molecules are a lot further apart, meaning the pressure is lower. We are going above 99% of the atmosphere by volume, okay? It is essentially outer space, full radiation of outer space. And so what happens, Bob, hit the next slide, is that when your helium inside your balloon, it wants to match the pressure that's outside. And so the only thing it can do is to push on the latex and continue to expand the balloon. And so a typical balloon will go from 6 feet on the ground to over 27 feet before it can't stretch anymore. And then it pops and we're coming down. All right. So it's incredible how much these balloons can stretch, and really gives us the ability to go up that high with just helium and latex, which is incredible.
Okay, so now we finally have phase 3. So after you receive your projects back, you should be receiving them on or before September 1st. If you're in Alaska, you might get it a few days after that, but the rest of us should be able to get them on or before September 1st. And then that gives you about 3 weeks to put together your final reports due. And then on October 6th, we are going to hold our awards ceremony event online. And I'll see if I can up my my bandwidth at home before then. So that is going to be the results. Now, the project video documentary. One of the things that you can compete on, and it will be part of your overall project, is the project video documentary. And basically what this is it's going to be 2 smaller videos. You're going to have a pre-launch video, which is going to be between 2 to 3 minutes long, so not very long. And then you're going to have a final project documentary when you get your projects back and you get a chance to review everything. And that'll be 4 to 5 minutes. We don't want anything more than 5 minutes. As you can imagine, if we have, give or take 140, 150 squadrons times 5 minutes, that's a lot of video watching for us. So please try to keep those to less than 5 minutes. When you do your pre-launch videos, we want to make sure that includes a couple things. One, make sure you give us a project overview of your share project. Second, let us know who you are. Tell us a little bit about your squadron. Show the members of your team. Get a chance to actually do a cadet interview. Maybe you have a couple of cadets that really were instrumental in driving this project for your squadron. Go ahead and make sure you do some interviews with those folks. And then, maybe you want to do the actual testing. So how did you test this project at home, at your home squadrons? And then finally, when you get everything back, put together a final overview video. Now, your final overview video, you don't have to do a brand new 5-minute video or a 4-minute video. You can take your pre-launch video and feel free to add on to it. And so what we're going to do is during our event live stream, we are going to be sharing your launch videos. We have about an hour and a half, give or take, depends on the weather, but about an hour and a half from the time that we launch the balloons to the time that we get them on the ground. And so I would say we have probably about an hour from the time that it's going to be past when the airplanes can see it and the time that the airplanes can pick it back up. So during that hour, we're going to be showcasing many of your pre-launch videos. So definitely try to do a good job, and hey, we'll make you famous. So here's a couple of good video tips. We want to make sure it's very crucial because this will mean that we can't show it if you do this. You can't have any background music since that we are going to be live streaming this on YouTube. If we put any type of if there's any background music, anybody's just listening to some music in a car in the background or something, that could actually get this copyright striked. So we can't allow that. Also, always make sure that you have as best lighting as you can. And we don't expect people to go out and buy stage, studio lighting, but you try to get the best lighting you can. If you're outdoors with natural lighting and you put yourself in the shade, that automatically gives you some great lighting. And also try to do the best you can with audio. It's always said that people will tolerate, a bad video, but people will not tolerate bad audio. So try to make sure your audio is clean. Honestly, your current cell phones, they do an incredible job at both, as long as you're in a good environment for them. And, when you're doing your videos, try to take that time to have your cadets tell the story of the project. And so, I'm going to put this on the cadets, not on the seniors. So cadets, when you're working on this project, really think about what's the story you're going to tell. Because if you tell a good story in your video, that could go a long way to helping you win the competition. So, and then lastly here, you want to make sure you show the process of developing the project. So don't just show, hey, we met and then boom, here's the project, right? All done. Go through the process. How did you actually go about developing that project? And also make sure, as much as we love our senior members, we really want to make sure that we highlight the cadets working together. If you're showing the senior members working with the cadets, that's even better, but definitely make sure that you're showing in your videos the cadets helping to drive. Then the other thing too, so for the 5-minute, max on the video, you want to really focus on a documentary style. You're going to want to tell who the squadron is, the charter number, where you're located. Again, it's kind of repetitive, but the project itself. How did your cadets work together? Where were you? And this is actually when you're finished, right? So where were you when you actually watched the event? Did you watch it live? Did you have a group together watching it live? And we know that not everybody can watch it live. I know here, even in Greenville, we have cadets that are going to be in encampments, for both of those launch dates. So they're not going to be able to watch it live. But maybe take some video when you get together and you're watching the live stream, in the replay on YouTube. And then, we really want to highlight Colonel Joe. It really is, ultimately the first person to get to that altitude, to low Earth orbit. And he's just really an incredible, and he's our ambassador. So take some time, learn a little bit about Colonel Joe, and then in your video, indicate, what was it that you learned about Colonel Joe and how was it that important to you? And then we haven't discussed it yet, but if the squadron wins the drum roll $5,000 grant, what you might like to do with that grant money. And then really anything else that's of interest to we want you guys to have the artistic freedom to make a video you like, but these are some of the things that we're going to be looking for. Okay.
And
over to you,
Bob, if I might mention, you got to look at B-roll. Okay. If you don't know what that is, you look it up on YouTube. It's basically what makes the transition between talking and sets the scene, sets the tone. And you guys in Civil Air Patrol have some really cool things that you have access to, with maybe filming your planes taking off or some things from your area. Just tell us, set the scene of what is it like at your squadron, your area, or your city, your county. Tell us the story of where you're from and what it is.
Sounds good. Jason,
right.
If you want to keep going.
Yeah, sure. So this is a competition. This is a friendly competition between the squadrons. Okay. We have a couple different categories, and this is all written in the AEO training materials. So we're just going to kind of briefly go over it here. But we have a couple different categories of competitions. The first is the most scientific share project and final report. You're going to learn a lot more about that from your AEO, which is essentially at the end of this project, you're going to have basically like a science poster. We call it the one-slide report, basically one Google slide where you put all your information. And so you're going to go through all of the phases of your project. You're going to document it and put it on this nice one report. And that's what we're going to use to take a look at these top two categories, okay? Most scientific share projects. Let me tell you something about science. This is a science-based competition, okay? And we are not judging your projects based on if they work or don't work, okay? A lot of this is about the scientific thinking and going beyond, looking into the unknown, okay? Colonel Joe, he had to design in step-by-step experiments, and you can hear that in our interview that we did with him. He didn't just wake up, roll out into the balloon, and launch himself. There was incredible amount of steps of a lot of things that didn't work that got him up to that point where he launched, and we learned something. And every point along the way, we were gaining something. So when you design your science project, you could be swinging for the fences, and it might not confirm your hypothesis, or it might not work, but because of the project that you did and the knowledge that you gained and the direction you were going, we give you this science award. All right. Most creative share project final report. This could be that you do your projects and you're really into graphic design or really into making things artistically, And so you make a one-slide report that is just unbelievable. And for me, what this is I go to a lot of science engineering conferences, and you can tell everybody who focused only on the science and had no care at all for the design of their poster or their presentation. And it's just like white background, just graphs, not really big enough to see. What we're looking for is to take your science information, make it look beautiful. If you were at a conference, we're walking through just row after row of posters that you would stop and say, hey, what is this? Okay. For YouTube, it's a great thumbnail kind of an idea, but make us stop, put the information in a great, organized way to tell us your story. All right. Best hand-drawn mission patches. And then best digitally drawn mission patches. All right. Doing this for so many years, I would have both of these sent to me, and I could never compare a digital mission patch to a hand-drawn. Both are beautiful in their own right. Okay. And people have skills in different areas. So I was like, you know what? I love these hand-drawn mission patches. So we're giving you the templates and we're giving you the requirements, and basically you cannot win if you don't have the requirements met. All right. It could be the most beautiful thing we've ever seen in our lives, but if it doesn't follow the directions of the information that's needed, you can't win. Okay. So the hand-drawn mission patches, you can use whatever medium you want, but it does need to be scanned and sent to us digitally. All right. Digital mission patch, pretty self-explanatory. And then we're looking at that, like Bob talked about, the best project, science project video documentary. And, we're going to have a whole bunch of videos to review. But again, follow the directions. We're going to be looking at the different requirements. And you can place and win for just that category, even, regardless of your science projects and everything else or your mission patches. All right. And then the mega award is the Kittinger Cup. Okay. The Colonel Kittinger Cup. Now, Joe told us these stories, and I wish that we had a lot more time in the live stream, but Joe has won many hot air and gas balloon races. Okay. And you're like, how can you race a balloon? Well, a lot of times it's distance. Okay. So he started in California. He may have gone to Nevada, and he kept going further and further, and he won these awards, these balloon cups. And then one day he says, you know what? I'd like to be the first person to solo cross the Atlantic Ocean on a gas balloon, like a hot air balloon. And he launched from Maine, and he flew across the ocean, across Europe, and he landed in Italy. All right. Now, this award we didn't plan this out. Colonel Joe, we were talking to him on the interview, and he put this up because he wanted to challenge you cadets and you squadrons to execute excellent science and teamwork and projects. And that's what his entire career as a test pilot and doing all these things, it was team-based, using science, and documenting your work so that other people can understand what you did, and maybe, stand on top of your work and continue to grow in the scientific community. All right. So he put up the cup, and he also put up a money grant award to a squadron who wins this. All right. I think next slide. So since we're talking about it, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the big prize first. The prize is $5,000 to the squadron who wins the Kittinger Cup. Okay. It's incredible. Now, in order to even qualify for the Kittinger Cup, you need to turn in all of your work. The eligibility is going to be based on reviewing every single thing that you've turned in over the course of the project. So it's excellence in execution. And we will be reviewing it as a panel, and I hope Colonel Joe can be on that panel, and you guys are going to get to hear from him. We're hoping to have him on the live feed at the mission. All right, so we have another couple categories. The pre-launch mission patches, the digital and hand-drawn. Susan has, worked hard at headquarters to get some additional funding for this. And so we have $150 for the hand-drawn and $150 for the digital mission patch. And you can turn those in, one per squadron of each category. We also have, like we talked about, the most creative artistic one-slide report, $300 for that. Most innovative science project based on the one-slide report, $400. The best share project documentary, $400. So we have a lot of different categories here that you could focus on all of them, or you could have parts of your squadron really take ownership of, we're going to take ownership of the documentary. We're going to take ownership of the mission patches, and you guys work as a team holistically. All right. And AEOs, if you're listening, essentially you could have all these categories. You could do internal competitions in order to select the final one-slide reports, the final mission patches that will come to the national competition. So I'm just blown away that Colonel Joe would offer this up and kind of encourage that friendly competition. His friendly competition, or maybe not so friendly competition, was Russia during the space race. And, we're all Americans here, and he wanted to have a friendly competition to spur on your science and your engineering.
USA.
Yeah.
USA. Okay. All right. So next thing we have is the cadet driven and senior sponsored conversation. So we have an example here, some live action. We've got our cadets, a couple of our cadets, they're saying hi there, and some of our senior members, and they're working through, how they're going to work on this project. It looks like they've got some activities that they're looking at that have electronics. So maybe they're going to be talking about how they can do an electronics driven project. So very cool. And this is also, again, a very first for AE Live, where we have a studio audience. So I'm excited. So there we go. What we really want to say here is we really want, we want to make sure this isn't like when you did the volcano, when your kid was in second grade and all the projects came back and it was very clear that your kid didn't work on that project. That was a parent's project, and we want the senior members to really be involved with the cadets and help them to provide guidance for this. But we don't want the senior members to drive it. We want the cadets to drive it. We really want this to be their project. Now, obviously, if they get themselves out of the lane, so to speak, the senior members, bring them back in, get them focused. But let's see what kind of creativity. Ultimately, they're the ones that are going to be driving our space race into the future. And, these two cadets that we have right here, for all we know, they may be the first two Civil Air Patrol members to go to Mars. What do you guys think? You guys going to Mars? Yeah. All right. That's good. That's what I want to hear. So we may get our cadets, the first person on Mars, who knows, maybe they will be a Civil Air Patrol member that is in Civil Air Patrol today, and they may be inspired by this project. So definitely let them help to drive. All right. Guys, give one last wave. All right, we'll get back to. Thanks, guys. We'll get back to.
And Bob, we had a few questions in the feed. If you don't mind, I can answer, and then we can keep going here. So people are asking. Let's see, we got a lot. It's like reading the Matrix. But let's say you have the 10 projects, 10 experiments in your capsule. You can turn in one. You can turn in a one-slide report for each one of the projects that are inside your capsule, okay? However, for the video, we need basically one video from the squadron because we will be overwhelmed with how many videos that we have, okay? But yes, you can submit many more one-slide reports for each project that you fly. If you have 10 of them, you can turn in 10, but you don't have to. You could turn in 3, 4, 5, however many you'd like, if you would like to do that. The mission patches, hand-drawn digital, can be different. No problem. We're not going to judge you on trying to make a hand-drawn version of your awesome digital one. It's just completely different medium that I could tell you just can't do both the same. in the same space. So hopefully that helps. We had some other questions about what, are you going to be exposed to, radiation and light and stuff like that for the flight? And the answer is yes to all the above. Basically, the only thing that's separating you from the extreme chaos and conditions of space is this capsule. It will be fully exposed to the space, near space environment, essentially. And if you wanted to equalize the pressure, you can go ahead and drill a hole. You can drill a hole in this, and so that your project will fully equalize to the edge of space environment. So yeah, full UV, full sun, full radiation, basically anything that capsule can't protect you from is going to be happening to your projects.
Very good. And that's actually a great segue. So we're into the questions portion. We're right at the top of the hour. So we told you we'd keep this to about an hour. I think we're meeting our objective to keeping this to close to an hour. Is there anybody else that has any questions? Go ahead and put them in the chat. I will not be able to see them. So the other thing too is you will probably have about a 20-second delay from the time that you enter your question to the time we'll be able to see it and respond online. There's a slight delay.
While we wait for some of those coming in, can I go ahead and share my screen and we could show the tracking page and some other things?
Yeah, and actually, did you want me to take this opportunity to show the 360 video?
Yeah. So if I have audio while you're still putting that up, and then I can share my screen. All right. So, we've done a lot of different research with like National Science Foundation to look at, how does high altitude balloon missions impact students, in education setting, in say like valuing science or, taking a STEM as a career. And this was an incredible project. This is where your STEAM comes in, where I had to use everything I knew how to do for video production and engineering. And the Discovery Channel asked me if we could take a 360 video of a journey to the edge of space. And this was in 2015, 2016, something like that. And consumer 360 cameras didn't exist. Bob, can you look at the balloon? So this is on YouTube. This is called The Journey to the Edge of Space. And you guys head over there. We need 70,000 more views to get to 20 million.
Wow.
And it's just incredible. Now it's not on my channel. It's they actually launched a VR channel with Discovery Channel with this video. So this is 4 GoPros and special lens, and I built this rig, and they just killed it in the production value. We have data that we collected during the mission. We put it in a little bubble. I think you can spin around. I think it's behind you, Bob. Oh man, Bob can't drive the balloon. Don't let Bob fly your balloon. There you go. So there's great commentary here. And essentially as a cadet or AEO officer, this is essentially the first thing you want to do is let the cadets explore this video. You can just use your phone. You can look around with your phone. And we have questions that you can ask and kind of brainstorm ideas. But we're maybe hoping during the live event, we might have Colonel Joe actually put on some VR goggles and tell us if this was what it looks like up there. But you can use your mouse, look around, or you can look around with your device. So that is Journey to the Edge of Space 360. Is a really cool video that you guys can take a look at. All right. I mean, Bob, you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's pretty incredible. There's nothing really else to say there. Let's see here. Was there anything else you wanted me to show?
I was just going to share my screen if you're okay with that.
Yeah,
look at the tracking. We got some questions coming in.
And then what I can do is I'm going to put you over here. And they'll see the whole Zoom screen. So let's see here. I want to go. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Yep, they can see you now.
All right, great. So this is what a model of this is what the payload box is going to look like that you guys are going to fly in. Okay. So you have all the different share capsules, and this is why I talk about nothing hanging out the side. Everything is kind of the same. So your share capsules will go in there with everyone else, and we'll have multiple payload boxes, and they'll all fly kind of together. And this is a little piece of plexiglass, but essentially you're exposed to the full force of nature of the edge of space during that mission. All right. So talk a little bit about the tracking. So this, we are going to have the YouTube live stream, but you also will have access to the data stream from the balloons in real time. Okay. So this is a mission. There was 4 balloons on this mission. We're only going to have 2. But essentially, while this thing is flying, you guys will have access to, it'll be a link just like this, a page that works on your phone and your tablet, your computer. And you'll be able to follow along live as the balloons plot along the map. And then you come over here to the graphs tab. Let me refresh this. Bob, you broke the internet. All right, so we got graphs up here. And in real time, we're sending all this information to the internet. And so basically within seconds of this, our flight computer taking a reading, it's going to send it to the satellites send it down to the ground, to the internet, and right to your phone, your tablet, your computer. And you will see all of this information in real time. So what we have here, we have altitude on the left and time on the bottom. So you can see that this balloon made it to 96,000 feet, okay? We also have, you'll have 2 balloons flying. So we'll look at SGS-2 here, and they made it to 94,000 feet, all right? We have temperature, got down to negative 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Speed, this balloon traveled 146 miles an hour in the jet stream, just incredible, all right? So you'll be able to see all this live data coming in during the mission. You can see the information listed here in numerical form. So these balloons traveled 92 miles. And then we'll also have a social feed. I think, we'll probably have the YouTube social feed too, but this is Twitter that I pull in here to this tracking tool. So this is the hashtag. You'll have a similar hashtag to that for the mission. And so this is where you can see all that data live. And then after the mission, everything will still be here. For the people who participate in this mission, we'll send you a CSV, or basically a Google Sheet or a spreadsheet with all the data in it, so that you can use that for graphing and analyzing your information of what happened to your project. So I think, and I was going to just show a couple projects, example projects. Okay. So we talked about the 1 slide report. All right. And these are, I believe, middle school projects. Okay. And so we have, we have some basic ones. Here we have this team, they sent up a Lego, and it was a red Lego, and they wanted to see if it would change color. And I believe that what they found is that the UV light or the sun just baked this Lego piece in the share capsule, and it slightly changed color. Now, you put it on here, it looks great. Great little project that you could put in there. So it's, something that you could do, pretty basic. But let's look at a more advanced project, okay? And this is, what I hope you guys continue to push towards, just like Colonel Joe launching himself and the space age, that you guys push the boundaries in science and engineering, okay? This one, on this mission, this won our science award, all right? So they wanted to see if the X-rays from outside, from deep space, from outside of our galaxy, could be captured on dental film, which basically dental film, if you guys don't know, we grew up with film, and you guys have digital images on everything, but essentially this little piece of plastic had the ability to, when shot with X-rays, to display bones and different metal objects, okay? So it's a very tiny little film. So they sent it up in their share capsule with a whole bunch of other projects, had a little piece of titanium or some screw in front of the film. So they had to figure out how to get film, what was their control, how do you develop the film, all kinds of things related to the science, and understanding where do X-rays come from outer space. Just so many different aspects to this project. Okay. Now they flew it, they came back. The screw did not, the outer space X-rays did not put the imprint of the screw of the metal on the film. Okay, it did not work, and you can see that here. Hypothesis was not supported. Right now, in there, you're going to see how would you improve your project, and so they would have improved it, basically learning more about the X-rays, and basically you could take this, and what we're hoping you could take this one slide report and build off of it. Okay, and you can make it even better. But here, over here to the right, is their mission patch. On here, we're looking at, how high did it go, how far, what, all this information. So here's just an example of kind of a great, small, lightweight share project, and final report. I think that was it for me, Bob. Let's see what questions we have coming in. I don't know if you're watching the live feed or not, on the chat.
Let's see here. Let me get you back.
You can take over again. I think I'm good on my side. We'll look at your fancy screens.
Sounds good. So let me put this back over here. All right. If you want to show your video again, we'll get you back in there.
All right. Yeah, I got to unshare.
Yep.
I can't even drive my side. I don't know how you're doing it over there. I can't even drive Zoom.
A piano. Yeah. So I've got the screen up here, and let's see if anybody has questions. Did the X-ray plastic picture show some changes in the shade?
Good question. And ideally, I would like to have all kinds of information, a big paper on it, but this was a middle school project, and they conceived it, they executed it, they documented it. And as the public kind of wanting to know more, I think that is it. Look, it started a conversation, all right? And so you can talk to your cadets about that, maybe talk about those types of things. But yeah, I can't tell you the answer on that. And a lot of the stuff that goes up, like I said, it's not on Google. We got to send it up. You got to design that project, and we will advance humanity in understanding more about what it's going to take our everyday objects. And let's talk about this. Now, I don't think that we can send real medicine up, okay, because of legal issues. But I know on the space station, antibiotics and things like that don't work like they do on Earth. It's kind of a big problem that as we go to space, and you guys can look this up, the medicines that we use on Earth don't work the same as it does up there. What else do we not know? Okay. You're like, well, why does it matter, that we send up sticky notes or, chocolate? There's only so much pressurized, nice cargo space when we send things to space. There's only so much of that space available. Even on an airplane, we have the passenger cabin, and in some military aircraft, and shipping things across the country, sometimes it's not protected from the pressure or the temperature when we fly things in air freight. Just think about space freight. What do we not know as we send things outside our planet? So it's really exciting times.
Okay,
you see any other questions coming through?
A couple of good ones, but they need probably longer answers. We're already a little late, so we're going to skip some of them. There is one question I wanted to make sure I did answer. Some people talked about plasma and blood. Those are two that we definitely do not want. Do not send us any blood or plasma. So that would definitely be breaking the rules. If we saw something that even looked like blood, it wouldn't even get out of the box. So it probably, I don't even know if I would ship it back to you. I'd be like, what are you doing? All right, I think that's it, to be honest with you. Jason, let's try to wrap it up in the next minute here if we can, but
Sure.
Is there anything else you wanted to mention to the folks?
I'm just excited. I'm excited to be a part of this. I'm excited to help you guys think bigger. And, we've kind of given you this canvas. It's up to you to, figure out what you're going to paint and blow our minds, and then execute well. Just like Colonel Joe, you could make a cool science project, but if you don't write it down and give us a great final report or documentary, you might as well not have done it, because that's how the scientific community works.
All right, that's awesome. With that, folks, Susan, anything else from you before we leave?
No, you've done a great job this evening. Just want to remind everyone, if you have questions, to go to our website. On the AE page, your AEOs have that website link, and it directs you straight to the Stratastar link and page. And it's a special CAP landing page there on Stratastar. So that's where all your information will come from. If you have questions that haven't been answered, as they've talked about, just research it and figure it out if it will work for you. If you're going to do a video or report, your video is going to, even if you have 10 experiments in one capsule, your video will cover all of those in one video. You don't need to do one video or one slide for each item. You're going to cover that all in one video. So thanks for everything that you've done tonight, gentlemen. We appreciate it. All the cadets typing in their questions and answers. I hope that things will work out great for everyone. As I said from the beginning, thank you for taking a leap of faith. And now you know why I said that. Colonel Joe Kittinger made that leap of faith, and he's got a leap of faith in all of you doing a great job. Thank you so much.
Awesome deal. Well, I can't think of a better way to end it like that. So some folks, I'm going to leave the chat up running. I'm going to hang out for a few more minutes. I'm going to end the video, but I'll stay in the chat. So if you have any questions, I know Jason can probably stick around for a few more minutes looking at the chat as well, and we can help answer your questions there. But as far as the video is concerned, I want to thank you so much for spending time with us. And thank you very much to my my on-scene, the first time I've had my studio audience. Thank them for joining us. And with that, we'll let everybody go. You all have a great night. We'll talk to you later. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.